You think you know marketing, but you have no idea until you sit down with that man.
Okay, she's coming in. Good, good, good. All right, good. So what I'm gonna do, let me get this PowerPoint going because I want to, like I said, I want to value everyone's time. Appreciate people taking time. I'm normally not on these webinars with a tie on, but you know, it's been one of those days, and I know everybody else is busy too. So, like I said, I want to get this thing going. So let's do this. Let me get the presentation going. You should start to see a PowerPoint here in a second. And let's see. We should be good to go. Let me go back to my first slide. All right, and there we are. Okay, so again, I want to welcome everyone who is attending tonight's presentation. We're going to go over social media. Can you hear me okay? If you can't hear me, just please type in the chat bar that you cannot hear me. Let me see. I'm going to try to check the audio also. Okay, I hear it on one of my other computers. Anybody else? If you have a problem hearing, again, there's a bar up top of your screen you can move, and then that will allow you to ask a question. Oh, wait, I see Amy. Amy just joined me. Shout out to Amy from Philly. Hey, Amy. Amy, type yes in the box if you can hear me. I think Amy's there. Amy was actually one of the people who I was talking with today after I was on WRD for all my Philly people. So it's good to see her. So let me move on. Tonight, what we're going to do is really get into this presentation and looking at self-determination in social media. I know a lot of people are real active on social media, but what we want to look at is looking at social media as a tool for empowerment. I'm also going to show you some things looking at particularly the African-American / Black community and jobs. I use that African-American / Black because that is one, that's what the U.S. Census Bureau uses when they put out a lot of the numbers. And I know some people have issues with that phraseology, but, you know, again, so that as we share some of these numbers that come up and people want to look at the sources, I want you to be able to refer to, you know, these same sources. Also, I want to give you a process for effective social media marketing, because a lot of people are into social media, they're even into marketing, but they're not effective with it. And that's what I want to help people do, become effective with your social media. We also are going to look at some practical tools that you can use, whether you are someone who has a website, if you're someone who has a blog, if you have an offline business. These are tools that you can use regardless of your level of social media engagement today, even if you are on some of the other popular platforms like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or not. But the point is that I want to show you some tools that work with those, as well as some standalone tools. And I also want to give you some tips to increase your traffic to your blog, to your website, or your offline location, also to make you more productive, get the most value for your time. Often people want to know, well, how can I get maximization of my time? Or they see some of the things that, you know, I do. In one of my other presentations, I actually showed you like some of my back office. The people often say, you know, how much time does it take? And that varies, but I will show you how to maximize the time that you put in. If you put in an hour a week, I want you to have the most productive hour. And then we will have a chance for some Q&A, and I'll go through some questions. Now, some of you I know are familiar with me. Some of you, this is your first time joining me. And so what I want to do also is share with you a video, real brief, of a PowerPoint video. So what I need to do is change my screen. I want to play this video for you. And it's real brief, but it'll give you some background in terms of who I am. And I think, you know, that's kind of important, you know, for people who this is your first time here. I mean, I often say to people, you know, look at the people who are sharing information with you and find out, you know, what it is that they do. So to do that, just give me 1 second. I want to switch over and I'm going to play a quick YouTube video for you. And then also I see I got some more people just logged in to the webinar. So let me just see if I can get this link in here. Give me 1 second. And let me see if I can paste that. All right. Let me hold on one. So let's see. Let's put my cursor in the right screen. That will help. All right, here we go. And this should be playing in now. All right, so that was just a brief video. Again, just to give you some background, particularly for the people who are not familiar. And again, you know, I always say to people, they often will hire people to do websites for them. They hire people to do marketing, and sometimes they have problems. And I'll say, well, did you see their background? And they'll often say, well, no, I didn't check out, you know, what they were doing. And I think that's important. So I want you to, you know, to do that. And again, that's just a little background. Some of the people that I've had the pleasure of working with, and also, you know, you can go to my website and you can see a lot more information in terms of that. So moving right along, let's look at one of the things that I think is important is looking at what is really the purpose of social media, because a lot of times I think what happens is people, they get involved in social media, but they don't really know the strategy or the purpose. And really the fundamental purpose of social media is communication. With all of these networks, whether you're looking at Facebook with over 1 billion people, whether you're looking at LinkedIn, whether you're looking at the hot one right now, some of you might be familiar with Snapchat is a new one that's come up, a lot of young people on that. The bottom line of all of these things is communication, being able to have a message going from one person to another or into multiple people. Now, in this slide that I put up, one of the reasons I showed this slide is that historically, with the internet, it was a one-person operation where you had a website. And you see, you know, you had your website. And in the 90s, those of us who had websites in the late 80s, early 90s, often we would put up a website and we sent our message out. It was not the social angle to it. People would put up a website, you wouldn't make changes for weeks or months. It could just sit, and you said, this is our corporate message. This is our personal message. This is my website. They were built in HTML. And it was really not a social, as socially impactful as it is today. Now, what's happened with the social web is now your message, you can send it to people. In this particular example, I've got 3 people here. I've got Jess, John, and Jack who get a message. And from each of them has a network. So now, if we follow, say Jess, my message that started at my website can go to Jess, and through Jess, it can get all the way to the person on the far end, Maria. I don't know Maria, but my message is being shared with her, and this is where the power of the social network comes into play, because you can get your message to go out to people that you don't even know. And often, a lot of us hear about things going viral, and I'll share with people, that, you can't have a one-person virus. Your message has to get to other people, and this is where social media really is the tool, and it's also the most effective tool. For those of us who are business people, again, if we look back into, say, the late 80s, early 90s, to get this type of communication going with, say, direct mail, we had to buy stamps, we had to put things in envelopes, we had to print things out, we had to have things designed. I used to do a magazine, and we would say it would cost us about $600 per 1,000 people to reach and get our message out. Today, through the internet, you can reach 1,000 people at a much lower cost, but also I don't want people to think that there is no cost. So the bottom line, though, is that this is what has really changed the dynamics of Web 2.0, as many of you might have heard it, was this social web. Now let's look at some of the numbers. How many people are there on these social networks and trying to communicate with people? Well, there's two things we want to look at here. One is the number of social media accounts, and then the other is the number of social media users. Now, we're measuring these things in the billions of people. Hear what we're saying, the billions of people. So if we look at the number of accounts, the number of social media accounts, this means people that have set up a Facebook, set up a Twitter, set up LinkedIn. In 2012, that number was estimated to be 3.1 billion people. And as large as that number is, it's expected to grow to 4.9 billion in 2016. So this thing is trending up. So that's good news. And well, I'll leave it as good news. It's good news because if you're not involved with social media, you're just getting started, you still have time to get involved today and get really established in social media because the numbers are growing. It's not trending down, it's trending up. The other important number is the number of users. In 2012, again, 1.6 billion users. In 2012, expected to grow to 2.3 billion by 2016. Again, trending up. Business people, we look at trends. What direction is this thing going? We're looking at getting to 2.3 billion people. Again, you can get on these platforms now, and you can still establish your presence. And I'll show you in a later slide some of the things that are being done. And on the background here, you'll see some of the various social media platforms. You got Instagram, you got Vimeo for video, you got Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Pinterest. Of course, you've got Facebook, you've got Google+, you've got Yelp. All of them have different purposes, but this is why it's very important that we get involved, and you also have to have a strategy, because I know some people, they get on a bunch of platforms, but they really are not being effective. So part of what I want you to do is be effective, okay? And I'm glad everyone can hear. I see Amy is hearing me. I see Jake from Philly. Let's see. I think that's Joyce Fields that's joining us from California. Oh, great. We got some good people. Okay, wonderful. Let me continue going here. One of the other things that I wanted to make sure that we look at is why social media is important. Because I said in another presentation that if you know why you're doing something, then you're more motivated to do the how. A lot of times, we start with the how. This is how you do it. This is how you set this up. But people don't know the why. So I just want to give you a quick some points of why social media is important. I also already touched on the most effective, most cost-effective communication method. And that means if you look at radio, if you look at television, if you look at print, if you look at live events, social media is the most cost-effective way for you to reach 1,000 people. And for most of the people who who I interact with, a lot of small business owners, cost effectiveness is an important value, right? So we want to be cost effective. The other thing is social media allows us to expand our market, not only locally, but even internationally. Last night I was on a Skype call with some people who were in Belgium, and it was interesting because they were like 6 hours ahead of me, but we were communicating globally and we're talking about various issues. And again, for those of us who were in the late 80s and 90s, it's amazing that in real time now we're able to communicate to these global audiences and get our message out there. Another friend I was talking with who's in print, he has a newspaper, and the thing we were saying is that today with newspapers even, there's really no such thing anymore as a local newspaper, because even if you're, in Colorado with a small family-owned newspaper based in Aurora, Colorado, people may be doing research about Aurora. People may be Googling you. Something may happen and they need to find your message. People may live there, but they move abroad and they want to come back and find out what's going on in their local market. Maybe they want to know, they have family there. So if your message is set up and you have the mindset of this is important to be involved on these platforms, then you understand the importance of social media, and you can tie in with those people who are trying to find out this information. Because with the 4.6, the billions of people that we have on these platforms, your audience is out there. So the question is, are you getting your message in front of them, and are you getting in front of them effectively? And that's where social media can be your best friend. Another important factor as to the why. Why should I spend time, coming to these types of sessions like we are doing this evening? You want to be doing that for the fact that you can build business relationships. One of the things that we know is that business is built on relationships. Often what happens, I'm trying to check, people are sending me messages here. Now, even though we're in the webinar, and I want to make sure that they can get it. Okay, great, he said. Okay, so what happens is building business relationships. I'm going to show you some stats in a minute about the job market, particularly here in the U.S. And we need to grow our business, and business is built on relationships. Even if you're doing offline events, you can use, and this is what I do, you can use the online presence to make your offline events more successful. Again, another quick story. You can say you're planning an event in Chicago, but you're in California, you're in Philadelphia, and some of us, we've done this. And, you're planning an event, you count on people showing up to the event, you book the venue, you fly out to this location, you expect there to be a crowd, say a couple hundred people, you get out there, it's 25 people in the room. Using social media, you can gauge that turnout much more effectively. How? You can have events on Facebook where you can connect with people. You can set up things like we're doing tonight with a webinar. You can do a conference call. You can have people live tweeting, and so you can get a real sense of your event, and you can build a relationship with the people in that market, and so that when you arrive there, you now have a much better sense than, say, in the late 90s when you would fly out to an event and hope that people were actually there, or hope that local people were getting the word out for you. You can use social media as a very powerful tool to build those business relationships. And the last slide, the last bullet here, engage with the target audience. This is very important. Engagement. And what do I mean by engagement? Engagement means the interaction, the back and forth. This is very powerful. Say if you are looking at customer service. A lot of times business people, you get some feedback from a customer, or customers are talking about you and you don't know what's being said. And often that negative word of mouth in particular can be very harmful to your brand. It can be harmful to your reputation, to your service. Well, with social media, you can engage with your target audience to get feedback in real time. And we see this a lot, even with multi-billion-dollar companies. I've been on Twitter and seen large companies respond to a customer's complaint in real time on Twitter. Again, some more quick reasons on the why you want to get involved in this. I mentioned the customer service. Building authority and credibility. This is an important one, because what people want today is, as the entrepreneur, you want to be the authority. You want to, people to know that you know your stuff. And we know in social media and the internet today, there's a lot of scams. There's a lot of people out here who don't know what they're doing. There's a lot of people who target people who may not know as much as they should, and they prey on people, P-R-E-Y on people. Well, with social media, you can establish your brand. You can put out your blog, you can put out your social media interactions, people can see who you are, you can put up PowerPoint presentations, you can establish that I am the authority and I have credibility in this particular area, whatever that area it is, whether that's marketing, whether that's education, whether that is healthcare. There's a lot of different ways, but the point of it is you can start to be that authority. And one issue I've talked to a number of people who are not involved in social media, and the flip side of it is this. I've got people who, they've been, say, the authority for 20 years or more offline. They've got books, they've done presentations, they've got audio tapes, and they are the authority in a particular topic. But what will happen is they're not on social media. I'm not on Facebook. I don't have a web presence. I don't have time for that. But what's happening is this. You've got young people, and I say young, I mean in terms of their experience, not necessarily their age, but in terms of how long they've been doing something. So say they just came into, let's say, marketing. They've been marketing for a year and a half, just got their degree from college, and say, I've been doing it for 20 years. But they have a web presence. They've got the search engine optimization. They've got YouTube videos. They've got followers on Twitter. They're putting photos on Instagram. So now I need to hire someone. I'm a corporation. I'm looking for an expert. I go on Google. I go on LinkedIn, and I'm seeing this person who's been doing this for a year and a half. I see people who are recommending this person. I see people like this person. The other person who's been doing it for 20 years has no presence online. Who is most likely to get engaged for a new assignment? What we're seeing is it is this young person in terms of the experience of the year and a half. And so some of the people who have been doing it longer, like they'll say to me, hey, Norm, I don't understand. I'm not getting called for speaking engagements. I'm not getting called to participate in these seminars. And this young person is doing it. And I'm advising them, I'm saying, listen, you have to get involved on social media because this is where the opportunities are. This is where the marketplace is moving. And this is where a lot of the money is being made. And so you need to be on there, building your authority. And the other thing I want you to notice is you can also announce a new product and service, because depending on your business, you may be someone who wants to put out, new product, particularly information products today. You can put out a free report. You can put out a ebook. You can announce these products via social media, and again, in a cost-effective way. So those are some of the reasons why you want to be involved in social media. Now let's move on into some of these job numbers, and I'm going to go into these real quick. And then we're going to get next into some of the tools, because I want to also be able to give us some time to take some of the questions if you have questions. I mentioned earlier that there's a chat bar. You can type a question in. And also I'm going to unmute microphones, later on as well, so that, I'll be able to hear you if you're on your phone, if you're listening over your computer. We're going to turn this into interactive as well and give you that opportunity. So real quick, as we look at the African-American market, and many of you know, and I showed in the video, a lot of my focus is particularly on the African-American consumer market, and I want to give you, again, these quick numbers. 30.5 million blacks in the civilian non-institutional population. These numbers, and I'll show you the source of these numbers, in a second as well, but just let's look at this. Now, out of these 30.5 million blacks in the civilian non-institutional population, meaning that, they're not institutionalized, they're not in the military, they're civilians. This is the number, 30.5 million. Out of that, in the labor force now, let's look at this, these are people who could be working. We've got 18.5 million black people who could be working in the civilian labor force. And the other circle you see here is looking at youth. A lot of information here today looks at young people. These numbers looking at the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and they look at working ages in the U.S. at age 16 to 19. Now, in some countries, I know we got some people on, other countries here I see, they look at the youth age for working at 15. But here in the U.S., it's 16. So 672,000, 18.5. So this is if everyone was working, you would have 18.5 million black people working. You don't have that. Now let's go to the next slide. Now, I want to look at men. Let's look at men real quick in terms of the numbers. Now, a lot of times people hear the unemployment statistics come out, and they normally come out the first Friday of each month. And in terms of men, right now, and these numbers are actually for November of 2013. I'm going to talk about the December numbers, but these numbers actually for November were better than the December numbers. Okay, so in terms of the employed, you've got 7.33 million men employed, unemployed, over 1 million black men that are unemployed, 1.02 million. That's a 12, and the unemployment rate for black men, 12.3% in November. Now, what happens here, though, is look at this employment population ratio number. This is a number you don't hear much. This number shows you what percentage of the population is actually employed. Okay, look at who's employed. 58.4% of black men are employed. That means really not employed is 41.6%. So realistically, 58% of black men are not working, but yet the unemployment rate they're saying is 12.3%. Those numbers don't necessarily add up, right? I'm going to show you. Let's move on, though. Let's look, because the same for women. Let's look at black women. You got 8.41 million black women working. You got 1.05 million black women who are unemployed. And I bring this number up because often, in people's mind, they think, well, black women have all the jobs. Black women are, they're doing so much better than black men. That's kind of popular in people's mind. But the reality is there's just about as many unemployed black women as there are black men. 1.05 million. So if you add those two numbers together, we're already over, remember this, we're already over 2 million unemployed black men and women. And look at the employment population ratio for black women, 54.5% that are employed. Again, so that means 45.5% of black women, almost half, are not employed. I'm going to move on, and then I'm going to show you, where these numbers, why this means something, because people often don't see this. They're like, but I heard unemployment was, 7%, 12%. I'm going to tell you, and some of you may know, but I'm going to share why, these numbers come up this way. Let's look at youth, because a lot of us are concerned about, our young people, and we should be. Particularly when you look at this number for youth, I already went over the numbers, 432,000, unemployed 241,000. Again, remember we said age 16 to 19, but look at the employment, 26.5%. Only 26.5% of black youth between the ages of 16 and 19 are actually working. 73, so almost 3 out of 4 black youth are not employed. Okay, now how does this come up? This next slide shows you why this happens. What happens is, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, see, they only count you as unemployed if you are, as we said, 16 years of age or older, and you either have a job or have actively sought a job in the last 4 weeks. If you did not look for a job and go to the unemployment office and fill out paperwork in the previous 4 weeks when they took this survey, then your numbers do not show up in the unemployment numbers. And that's how come we've got huge numbers of people, millions of people who have not, there are people who've been out of work 3 months, 6 months, years. You just saw, this week where they're fighting to get their benefits extended. So all of these people are not even being reflected, and this is why they're kind of playing some games with these numbers. And I'm showing you all of this because we want to get into, again, why we need to, particularly if you're, as black people, take advantage of some of these tools, because what I'm telling you is that if the U.S. economy is only creating 203,000 jobs, which is what they said they created in November. Now, there's no way, and I know I've got some real sharp people on this webinar, there's no way that 203,000 jobs created in the U.S. economy can employ more than 2 million unemployed African Americans. And I'm not even speaking about our Latino brothers and sisters and the Asian brothers and sisters and the white people who are out of work. That means that we are going to have to get real busy using different technologies and tools to employ ourselves. And very few people are talking about this. There's another factor that's even going to make this number worse than what it is. One is that I shared, you see here, this was November of 2013. Now, I've got this paper here because this is real time, and I guess I really wasn't planning on doing this, but I'm going to do it anyway. But I just got the paper. I don't know if you all can see this. I'm going to try to, I showed somebody this last night. I'm putting it in front of the camera if I can get it over here. I don't know if it'll come up. Okay, here it is. Okay, you can see it. Here it is. 74,000 jobs. You see that number? 74,000 jobs. Okay, what does that mean? 74,000 jobs? This is out of the Philadelphia Tribune. These are the numbers that came out for December. In December, you can check it out, Bureau of Labor Statistics.bls.gov. December's numbers came out last week. Only 74,000 jobs were created. Now, I just told you the economy you can't make it with 203,000. How are you going to do it with 74,000? Now, a lot of the economists are saying, you know, oh, that was an anomaly. It's going to get better. I'm telling you, this is serious. So that's sort of my statistic background I wanted to share with you in terms of the urgency and why we have to look at some of these tools. Now, let's get into the social media piece, and then I want to, move into our Q&A. I'm showing this slide here. Hit any key to continue. All right. And so sometimes when we talk about social media, people get frustrated, and that's just how they feel sometimes. They want to take a sledgehammer, to that computer because, you can get frustrated. Some things, you may want to do, you find them, difficult. And there are a lot of things that if someone knows how to do them on social media and really, even with technology, they can show you very quickly. Like, but if you don't know, you can spend hours trying to figure it out. If you don't know how to crop a picture, if you don't know how to turn on a computer, you can sit there for hours, but you need a guide. You need people to show you, how to navigate and how to move in some of these platforms. So let's look at, again, I mentioned earlier, I wanted to give you a process. So this is something here that I call the effective social media marketing process. And it starts here at the top with defining your business goals and your target markets. And again, this process is something that you can use for developing your social media strategy. It gives you a way to operate in terms of what platforms you should be on or not be on. And it's a way to really help you be more productive with your time. First, you want to define your business goals and target markets, because a lot of times when people say to me, well, I'm thinking about jumping on some particular new platform, I'll say, well, how does that fit in with your business goals? Because if you don't have your business goals in line, it really doesn't make sense for you to even be thinking about, some of these social media strategies. So the first thing you want to do is define your business goals and your target market. The second thing you want to do here, as we go, clockwise here, you want to define your internet marketing strategy. This means what platforms, should I be on? Now that I know my business goals, I want to reach a new market, I want to grow market share, I want to reach women, I want to reach men, I want to reach youth, I want to reach, whatever those demographics and psychographics are for your audience. Now you bring your internet marketing strategy in place to match up with your business goals and your target market. That's when some people jump right to internet marketing strategy. The next phase, the next circle at the bottom is implement. Now, when you go to implement, meaning now I go to activate these accounts, I go to sign up for whatever platform I'm going on, implementing, but it's based on my target audience, because a lot of these platforms differ in just really large percentages based on your target market. For example, Pinterest. Some of you are familiar with Pinterest. It's a picture sharing, pin board type of platform. Pinterest demographic is over 80% women, according to their numbers. So if I'm trying to reach men, And also Pinterest's demographic is young. It's like 25 to 34. So if I'm targeting, say, a program for seniors or a program for people in their 40, the 45 to 54 group, it wouldn't make sense for me necessarily be on a Pinterest. Same if I look at, say, an Instagram or a Tumblr. These platforms skew to a younger audience. The audience on Tumblr is even younger than the audience on Facebook. Facebook is very popular, but Facebook is actually attracting more of an older demographic now. A lot of the young people are not necessarily even getting on Facebook. They're kind of getting off of it because some of them are saying their parents are on and their grandparents are on. So again, the point is, know your target market. And the last circle you'll see here is measure your results. The great thing about social media and the great thing about digital marketing, where we are today, is that you can measure your results. It has totally changed the marketing industry, actually, because earlier companies would run an ad, they put an ad on for the Super Bowl or some type of event. They couldn't measure. Well, who saw my ad? I know some people saw it. I'm not sure. We used to have the saying, I waste 50% of my marketing budget. I just don't know which 50% because they didn't know. With social media, you can measure. You can see how many people clicked on your ad, how many people attended your webinar, how many people made a phone call. There's lots of great metrics. And so with this measurement, you now can determine, okay, let me refine my internet marketing strategy. That's why this arrow jumps back over to internet marketing strategy to refine it. Maybe you were spending money. You're like, you know what? I need to stop spending money on, Facebook advertising or Google Plus advertising. Because that's not my market. Maybe I need to come off of Pinterest. That's not working for me. So you can refine your internet marketing strategy if it's not working, and you may also have to go back and redefine your target audience. So this is a process, again, that you can use in order to be effective in the social media marketing. Next, where do you drive this traffic? Now I'm going to come into some tools that I want to show you and introduce you to help you, because let's say you are being effective in your marketing, you are reaching your target market, you are able to get the audience that you're seeking. Where do you drive this traffic? One of the things I'm finding is I'm talking to people, particularly, again, small business owners. Many of us do not have a website. If I got $1 for every business person, small business person I talk to who says their website is under development, or they're not happy with their website because they can't reach the web developer to make changes. This is a problem, and over half of the business people I talk to don't have a website. The website, this is not new. Websites, I was doing websites back in the 80s. So anyway, the point is, where do you drive the traffic? I want to introduce you to a few tools here, that you want to make a note of. And I'm not going to go into them heavy in this particular webinar. I am going to give you their websites. You can go to them, and later, in future webinars, I will be doing some specific webinars around these tools, and we'll spend time, an hour or so going into them, and I do some other classes online, about them. But the first is acpdirectory.com. You want to make a note of this particular tool. This is a tool that offers you the ability to list your business. So if you're a person, you do have a business, people need to know how they can find you. Remember the yellow page. People aren't using the yellow pages anymore. People are finding you online. They're finding you on your phone. But if you're not listed, how can they find you? This directory is a way for people to find your business. And not only does it allow people to find your business, it also allows you to list events. Say if you've got an upcoming event going on, you can list your events. You want to look for events around the country, around the world. You can add events. Also, there's a area there if you're looking for coupons. Say, a lot of us are familiar with Groupon and deals. You'll find various deals on this platform. If you also are someone, say you're a writer, you can put articles there. You can read various articles. So, and it has a very strong social media component. And it's put together by a brother who is actually out of Kenya, who is currently in Belgium, and he's been developing this platform for over 5 years. It's a very comprehensive directory, but also, like I said, giving you a lot of other content. This, again, shows you some of the platform. It's actually changing because he's constantly revising the platform. But when you go to the site, he's also running a promotion right now where, in terms of the listings, you can get the diamond level listing, which is normally $50 per month, $49.95 US. You can actually get that listing right now at no cost. There's a coupon code there. You can enter that code. You can set up your own listing, and you can actually be up and running. The other great thing about this, I'm going to mention this real quick. I mentioned a lot of people don't have websites, right? So, but many people don't realize you can get a domain name. Let's say you get your, you want, AmosWilson.com. You can get AmosWilson.com. Use that as an example, but I'm sure, that's Dr. Wilson. But the point is this. If you get that domain name, you can configure ACP Directory so that when people type in that domain name, your page on ACP Directory pops up. So now you've got free hosting. And when you go to that the page, your listing, not only will you see your directory information, but you can add video, you can add photos, you can offer deals, you can do text messaging. It really is a full-fledged website. Really, there's a map to your location. If you're an offline business or someone's driving trying to find your location, they can pull up a map and get to your location. A lot of functionality there. So go to the site, take a look at it. You'll find information there about the coupon code that I mentioned. They'll give you 30 days free listing. Now, the listing is different than a profile, but I'm not going to get into that. You'll see, one, you got to set up your profile, and then two, add a business listing, because not everyone who's on there is in business. Some people want it just for the social engagement, which is like a Facebook, and that's the other thing. It can actually incorporate some of your Facebook messaging. Now, this is another tool I want to give you. This is another freebie. I'm going to give you about another freebie here before we go to our questions. This is an SMS Business Card. Some of you, you may be wondering, what is an SMS Business Card? Well, to see an example, if you have a mobile phone, you can use me as an example. You can text this keyword, or the keyword would be Norm Bond. You see up top, text keyword to short code. This is sort of the format for this. The keyword in this example is Norm Bond. You text the keyword to a short code. The short code is a 5-digit code. This example, 50500. And this is a real live working example. If you text Norm Bond to 50500 from your mobile phone, you're going to get my contact information bounced back to you, and I'm going to get your information as well. So we can exchange information digitally. I never gave you a physical business card, and you can set up your profile with your name, your phone number, your website, whatever, put that in, and so now you can exchange this information, and it's a great way. I've been out at events sometimes, if I don't have business cards, I'll put up text keyword to short code. Some of you might have seen this if you watch American Idol or any of these, a lot of programs here, text so-and-so to so-and-so. This is the format they're talking about. Text a keyword to a short code. Up here, you'll see www.contxts.com. You can go to this website and you can get, again, your own account, set it up, put your information in, and you will be able to choose your keyword. And then if you're out, you're marketing, you do events, you'll be able to share that, and people will be able to get your information. It's very powerful too if you're dealing with young people. Okay, another quick tool I want to give you, AfroWorld. AfroWorld.org is another website that you can go to list your business. This particular site focuses on African professionals from around the diaspora. And the reason this site was developed is that there are a lot of people now who, you're not, again, I mentioned earlier, scams. You're not sure who somebody is. Are they black, are they white, are they Asian? And unfortunately, with African Americans, a lot of times people are selling us things under the guise of being black, or because black people haven't moved into these particular areas, and other people are coming in and capitalizing. Well, the developers of this site said, you know what, we need to see like who's behind some of these sites, and we also need to connect a lot of our various professionals. So that's what you'll see on AfroWorld.org. It's more of a personal site. It allows you to add your photo and whatnot. And I'm going to show you real quick. This is my profile on AfroWorld. Everything I'm showing you are things that I use. You know, I don't show people stuff, you know, that's theory. I'm practical. I'm an entrepreneur, business person myself. So when you go to AfroWorld.org, you can put in Norm Bond. Again, you'll see listings. You can find me in there. You'll see my photo. This is what I was mentioning earlier. There's my logo. You'll see the map. And if you're on other platforms, like you see here, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, you can actually set up your profile so that it's integrated to those. And you can use this as sort of a dashboard for those other platforms. So as we, you know, start to come to the end here, the title of this presentation was looking at self-determination and social media. So what is self-determination, meaning that you must defining for ourselves? Of course, it's tied in to the Kwanzaa principle, Kuji Chagulia. So these are just some, you know, bullet points, things that you should look at defining for yourself. Define who it is that you're trying to reach. Define the value that you bring. People buy value. As you look at your target audience, what value do you bring to them? Define the size of your target audience. Is your target audience large enough for you to get the goals? Whether that's making money, whether that's having influence, you know the size. A lot of our people don't do enough research. Where should you start? What tools should you use to reach them? Where are they hanging out now? I mentioned to you earlier, all these various social platforms, people on all of them. They're on everything from Facebook to Vine with sharing video. Know where your audience is. So these are some things that you want to define so that you're defining them for yourself and you know these things as an entrepreneur. So in closing, as we get ready to open this up for some questions, if you have questions, social media, it can be used however it best suits your business. It's very customizable, if I can use that word. Everybody uses it different. The way I use social media is not the way that you have to do social media. You know, some people are marketers, some people are educators, some people are in the health field, some people are, they're writers, some people, I was with a group of people today, a lot of young people, entrepreneurs, they are what they're calling social, social entrepreneurs. These are like young people with a real conscience, I want to say, because they're focused on the environment and socially conscious entrepreneurs. And they were like 14 to 18 years old. And the way they use social media, in terms of the environment and so forth, may be different than someone who's, a banker. So the point is, you can use it however it best suits your interest. I've already talked about cost effectiveness. We talked about not only repeat buyers, because anybody can sell something one time, but you want repeat buyers, you want repeat business, and that's going to come from engagement, and that's also going to build loyalty. And the last bullet on this is, if your social media marketing is not well planned, you could have a disaster. There's a lot of examples on that. There's a video out right now that's called United Breaks Guitars. If you go into YouTube or Google, put in United Breaks Guitars, and you will see a video there. Last time I looked at it, it had over 9 million views. And that video shows the guy, he put it together, who had a guitar on United. United broke his guitar. He put up a video, and it really impacted the way United Airlines does their business. But Google United Breaks Guitars. You'll be amazed at what you see. So again, in summary, these are some of the things that we covered today. I talked about the purpose of social media. I showed you some reasons why it's important. I looked at a process. I gave you some practical tips to increase your traffic, some tools that you can use. And in terms of next steps, I want to share with you, I also do another webinar that's really targeted to entrepreneurs, bloggers. This is a 90-minute webinar. It's a 4-week class. And I have two. One is on effective social media marketing. One is effective small business marketing. I go into each week a different aspect of social media or small business marketing, and I hold you accountable. I did this class offline, and what I found out was this. It helped people tremendously to be involved in a multi-week class, because I said, for example, set up your Facebook business page in week 1. Week 2, we came back, we took a look at their Facebook business page. So people had to actually set them up. Many times when I do presentations, I talk to people, I'll share information like what we're sharing tonight. Here's some free tools, some free tips, various platforms, and then I run into the people a few months later. 90% of them never went to set up these platforms. They didn't take advantage of the free tools. However, when I do the classes, and it's a 4-week class or a 6-week class, the actual utilization increases by hundreds of percentages, because now people know, okay, I got to make sure I set up my my Twitter. I got to make sure that I go into the chat room. I give them a lot of things to help you really get the results. So that's a 90-minute class. You can find more about these courses if you go to www.normbondmarket.com. You'll see more about those. So that's my last slide. What I want to do now is I want to go into a Q&A mode, so that if anyone has questions, you'll be able to either type the question into the chat box, and I also will unmute your phone. I'll show you that, so that if you want to state your question, you'll also be able to do it that way. So let me just go and change the mode here real quick and close that out. And I want to unmute your phone here. All right, so okay, let's switch that. Okay, so you should be able to, let's see here, I'm going to...
All attendees are muted and may unmute themselves by pressing *6.
Now, I don't know if you heard that, but you are now muted, but you can unmute yourself by pressing *6. And if you press *6, I should be able to hear you. So when you have a microphone, or if you want to listen over the telephone, if you hit *6, you can unmute yourself. You can ask me a question, and I can answer that question. If you had a question about anything that you've seen, or if you don't want to type, don't want to state a question, and you're shy, you can also type it in. You can type your message in over. There should be a chat bar over to your left. So either way, whatever you're comfortable with. If you have a question, let me see. You should be able to type. I'm gonna type one here just so it'll pop up. Type your question here, and you just hit enter, and you should see on your screen now what I just typed. Type your question here. So I'm gonna give us a couple of minutes. If you have a question, type in your question, or again, hit *6, unmute your phone, and we'll take a few questions, and then we'll wrap up. Any questions? Let's see. I see we got Jake. Let me see who else. Let's see here. I see Amy. She's still around. Who else? Tony. I'm not going to say people's names in case but anyway, the point is, if you have a question, just either type it or again, unmute yourself. And if there are no questions, everyone here, you have my email. Obviously, if you want to email me a question, it's norm@normbond.com. Let me just put that in there. But I think everyone should have my email in case somebody invited you, though. That is my email address. And of course, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, all of those platforms. But the best way is to email me, or hit me on Facebook and direct message me. I mean, I respond to those as well. Was this helpful? If you got any value, people, you can type in a comment. If you don't have a question, you got a comment, you can do that as well. I know some people I was communicating with today, and I'm going to be following up with them directly because they, might have already been to ACP Directory, or you got a question. I'll certainly follow up with you But if otherwise, if I haven't talked to you, again, I'm going to give you about 30 more seconds or another minute, and then I'm going to wrap up because I said we were going to go for an hour, and here on the East Coast it is now 10:02. I don't want to keep people up too late. I know I got some young people who are in my class today. Okay. Oh, cool, Joyce. Let me type. Thank you, Joyce. Joyce Fields, you really want to check out Joyce. Joyce is an author. You know, we've actually had Joyce on. I do a call for OIC of America. I do a entrepreneur call, and I had Joyce on as a guest. Joyce, I mean, fantastic. Lots of books, great children's, a variety of authors, a variety of books, rather. I'm sorry, that she's published. So, you know, definitely good. How many countries involved with ACP? Okay. That's a good question. When you go to ACP, I think there are a lot. I mean, there's over 100,000 businesses in ACP Directory right now. There are more than 100,000 business listings in ACP Directory. And actually, when you go to the directory, on the right-hand side, there's a area that says search, and if you hit that, it'll show you a list of countries. Pretty much, if you look at all of the African, across the African continent, you've got at least 20 African countries. Now, here's the exciting thing. Let me jump to this, because I know a lot of people on this call are in the U.S. In the United States, there are less than 100 U.S. businesses that are listed out of the 100,000. So the founder of the directory, I mentioned he's from Kenya. There's also an ACP Kenya. So I'm going to say conservatively, at least 25 countries are involved. At least, to give you a number, at least 25 different countries are listed in ACP Directory. And one of the things we're talking about also, and I need some help. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I need some help because I have just agreed to help expand ACP Directory into the U.S. And there's also a money-making opportunity. Some people are looking to make extra income. I mentioned earlier that there is the directory listings are like $49.95. I said we're giving a free month. But if the diamond listing is also there's a free listing. It goes up to diamond. The point is this: we're going to be doing a commission of 30% of whatever revenue is generated from, whether that's from the listings. People can also place display ads, can run on the site. There are other revenue opportunities there on the site, different things people can pay for to, promote themselves. And I'm actually going to be adding affiliates, is what we're going to call them. And you can do it online. So, we're going to give you banner ads. We already have them, various banner ads that you can share. People can click on that ad. We'll be able to track, using cookies if they come to the site from a link that you share, and you'll be able to earn, 30% commission. So you sell, $1,000, you will be able to earn $300, in earnings. And there's going to be some other things that we're going to do in terms of incentives and so forth. And the great thing I like about it is that, this is something that, it's created by, Black folks and, it's all cultures and people, what ACP stands for. So it's inclusive, but also the fact that the brother who developed it is from Kenya. He speaks French, he speaks Dutch, he speaks Swahili. So, and there'll be more. 30%, that's a good question. Good question. U.S. dollars, euros. All right, good. This is going to be in U.S. dollars. That's the $49.95 is U.S. dollars, and the percentage and commission will also be U.S. dollars. And to that, let me say, originally when I first found out about ACP Directory, the currency being used was euros, but the founder really sees a lot of opportunity in the U.S. market. And what happened is I started saying it was like, I forget, it was like 25 euros plus the VAT. And so as we talked, I said, listen, we're going to roll this out in the U.S. we need to convert this to U.S. dollars so that it's, easier for people. And so those are U.S. dollars. It'll be 30% 30% U.S. dollars in terms of the commissions that you can earn. And also, I'll be doing training. There's a lot of it. You'll be working with me personally, really, because, like I said, I'm going to work to expand this thing. There are 100,000 businesses there now. I think we can put 100,000 businesses in the U.S. The guy who just got going in Kenya has already, within a matter of about 90 days, has ACP Directory as like the #1 directory in Kenya in terms of Google searches and rankings and SEO and so forth. So lots of opportunities, I think here in the U.S. And a lot of people, again, they need ways to make money. And so you not only can you list your business, but you can make some money as well. And you can do it, without driving. You can do it from your home. We can go out. So I'm going to do some offline events as well. But if you want to do something, spend an hour a day sending out links, you can do that and make some money. Okay. Good question. Good question. Anyone else? Well, listen, I want to thank everyone who joined us. If you had a question, if you didn't have a question, like I said, follow up with me, email me. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter. I'm also going to do this webinar again. I commit today. Let me say happy birthday to Dr. King. Today is Dr. King's birthday, Martin Luther King. And, I was on the radio earlier today and talking about how when Dr. King passed, he was really working on economics. And we know, the poverty and so, there's still huge disparities, in those areas. But I want to acknowledge that, today is his actual birthday. But the point I was going to make is that I'm going to do this webinar for like the next 2 weeks. And then I'm going to do another one because I think this technology is a great way, for us to level the playing field in terms of business, in terms of communication, all those things. And I see a lot of, Black people, I see us dominating Twitter, dominating mobile, dominating a lot of these platforms in terms of users, but I wanted to also increase our business savvy, on these platforms, okay? And I've got a good number of sharp people that I've been able to connect with, not just, here in the U.S. I've got some great people as well as abroad. I've got, like I already mentioned, Belgium, Japan, someone from Asia, I've been communicating with. So, in spite of all of the challenges, I am still optimistic that, we can use technology as a tool. And not technology for technology's sake, but again, as a tool to help you do whatever it is that you do, offline, online, working with youth. There's a lot of ways, you don't have to become a technologist, you don't have to become a programmer. Just use these things as a way to communicate your message, reach your target audience, save money, and, and build, okay? So again, I want to thank everybody, for joining. Particularly those of you who were on last week. I know last week we had some tech issues, and I actually switched my platform, from the service that I was using. This one seems to have worked really well. So I'm going to continue to use this and really, expand what we do. But again, I'm going to be looking, to connect with people and build, because this is not something that any one person can do, by themselves. All right. So again, I want to let me just type in the big message here and say thank you all. I'm saying it verbally. I know some people. Can I get my keyboard in there? All right, good. There we go. I want to just say thank you for attending. All right. Okay, everyone. So I'll see you all online or call me or email me, and we'll continue this to grow and build. Have a great evening.